get like a relatively short piece to camera, but you can also start and then zoom out. I mean, honestly, like whatever you say, I don't really mind. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I could just keep on doing them and then whatever we catch.
Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it when he's coming?
Look for pieces running. We have a piece. We have a piece from Dover this morning.
Can you help me just quickly jump in that space there?
Oh yeah.
Well, if you grab that, I'll grab this. 1, 2, 3, go. You know what? This isn't going to work.
Laura.
Sorry, Laura.
Laura.
Can I just jump in here? Is that your bag? In between.
They want you for the life opener now. Did I? You didn't think I really said it, but they thought I actually meant that.
Yeah, great. I've seen it. Yeah, the Dover one.
Paul, do you know how long this live is? Are they talking non-stop, or can you check for me?
Live from Downing Street, I'm Elizabeth Bay. This is BBC News. Deal or no deal, France and the UK.
President Macron will arrive here in the next 15 minutes or so to meet Keir Starmer. They try to agree a deal with him internally.
State visit to the Ukraine. He is expected to meet some new Starmer later. Happening here at Downing Street. Bring you all the updates as they come in.
I think this is the third day of what has been highly symbolic, the words of the Prime Minister's state visit, in which there is a real reset here between the UK and France after Brexit. President Macron is the first European leader since the UK left the European Union to come to Britain for a state visit, and today is the really political day, because having done all the pomp and ceremony, the address in the Royal Gallery to Parliament, the state banquet, and all the photographs you see in recent days of President Macron and his wife and the royals, now it gets really political, and in there today the Prime Minister and the President of France are going to be discussing core issues to them, and Macron gave a flavour of it actually at his address to Parliament in the Royal Gallery, where he talked about Brexit, he talked about the alliance between the UK and France over defence. Expect to hear more of that today. Remember, they talked about the coalition of the willing and France and the UK really shouldering the burden as President Macron almost said it, as the US becomes a less reliable partner. They are my words. It's not quite how he put it for diplomatic reasons, but certainly there's that view. But then, of course, there's boats. And what we're expecting today is potentially an announcement of this deal that we've been talking about all week. They are hoping to nail it down later today, and essentially what that will be is a one-in, one-out policy. And what that means is someone that comes here on a boat illegally, there have been 30,000 arrivals this year, they will be sent back, and in return France will send to the UK an asylum seeker that has some sort of family connection in the UK, and the government hopes that this will be a deterrent, that it will deter people coming over because they know they will be sent back. As I understand it, it's likely to be a trial, so it might be that they announce a few hundred migrants that they want to do this exchange with for the remainder of the year. It's still up in the air, but that's what I think it's going to land at. And in terms of the other element of this, it's about pull factors as well, because President Macron himself said in the address to Parliament that there were pull factors, reasons that the UK are attractive and people want to come from France over to the UK, and that is employment regulation, which means it's easier to get off-the-books work, so informal work, so you can work illegally here effectively, and also the benefit system. And so I think there could be, alongside this deal, something about trying to crack down on illegal working, more spot checks, some of the things that they do in France actually. And if the Prime Minister does manage to land this, well, it will be a big moment for him. He is really struggling in the polls. Domestically, small base is a massive issue. Immigration, a top 3 voter concern, and if he can land this deal and signify to the British people that he's trying to do more with France to really smash the gangs, as he puts it, and clamp down on arrivals, well, he will take that as a big win. So it could be a very good day for the Prime Minister if he gets to that press conference later and can make that announcement. I think the focus is on the numbers, and the government are in a lot of difficulty around it. As I said, there's been 30,000 boat crossings. I think there's over 40,000 irregular migration, as they call it, arrivals on small boats since Labour took power. It's a massive problem for them, and the Prime Minister knows exactly that. But I think what he needs to try and demonstrate is, he talks about smashing the gangs, but what visible difference? People are still seeing people coming over on boats, and I think what this would enable them to do is show that people are also being deported promoted, and I think that visually that would be important. You remember in the run-up to the general election with Rishi Sunak trying to get the planes off the ground to Rwanda to resettle failed asylum seekers in Rwanda. It was all about, can you get the planes off the ground to show the public that you're making some progress and you're trying to do something, visibly do something before the general election, and I think it will be taken in that vein. But there's no doubt that it is a massive issue. I think the question for other political parties take form, and I think Nigel Farage is out in the English Channel today. He will be highlighting the continued uncontrolled arrival of small boats. So, but I think the issue there is Nigel Farage would say he will send everyone back, but you need a load of bilateral returns agreements with a number of different countries, some countries with which we don't even have diplomatic relations. And I think the point of all of this discussion around small boats is, as Rishi Sunak said, as our own Prime Minister has said, there is no silver bullet. There's a series of different things they have to do, and I think the Prime Minister will take this as a start to show that he can work with France in a way that previous Conservative Prime Ministers couldn't, to try and get a bilateral deal and get people going back. Mr. Healy, can you get a deal on the boat, sir? Sorry to interrupt you, if I didn't think you'd answer me, but you know, he actually said earlier today that progress, well no, John Healy actually said today, I think on some of the media rounds this morning, that the progress was too slow on small boats. They know it's a massive problem, but anyway, should I duck out now? Funny, wasn't it? Farage is out at sea today. This has been clearly symbolic. This has clearly been a symbolic state visit. President Macron, the first European leader since Brexit to come to the UK. Now politics and the Prime Minister able to get some sort of deal, something like that. I mean, it's taken back just a little introduction. Yeah. Then you don't want the top bit, do you? You don't want the top floor. We've got the ruling red carpet out. No, I mean, please remember, you don't want to sort of being a symbolic statement.
About a high integration deal agreed by, I'll either say by these two leaders, Cyprus and Keir, or I'll say by the leaders of Britain and France. Okay, cool. In the shot. Yeah, okay, cool. I don't actually need to move the hand. It's fine. Yeah. Okay, cool. France, that's whether it will work. This is another question. There's a lot of hand washing, nothing to do with me. Yeah, it's not my problem. find out that here in London, when you are in London, no one's kind of like handling you. Like no one's handling you. Yeah.
That's what we had here. Once we've done the rounds, basically, as soon as they're ready, I will take you guys to number 11. So if you could just be as quick as you can, basically, at the end of the plan, you know, just 11. Just take your phones, electronic devices, and then I'll take you basically. No, there's a box, a stage. Okay. So you bring tripod. Yeah. So, the channel 5 is all the way down there. So like, you don't really know all the way down there now. But I was wondering if you he's on the Oddity, you guys when we're all inside. Yeah, just make your way.
Whether it works is another question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, two very important checks. Is my hair crazy? Is my cleavage alright? I don't want to get cancelled again. Yeah. I guess. Why would they be more excited about yesterday? There was like nothing happened. Like, yeah, it's crazy. I think, like, in terms of what should be interesting for us, is the fact that other European nations are like, no thanks. I think we can, I mean, we can. Oh yeah, well we should definitely not. Yeah. Yeah. It's fine, I'm alright, it's okay. Yeah, I'm glad the practice is running.
Well, I mean, the hope, I guess, today, one foundation, we know today is that actually the Prime Minister will be able to say, look, here is a country proposal in relation to where we're resettling. And
forces to the ETA.
And potentially domestic league challenges in France. Let's cover that as well. For this plan.
Because I might be a little bit, I mean, as much as I love you, that might make me cross. And I think it would hurt my heart to get cross with you. Ready? Huh? Yeah? When shall I start doing it? What does that sound? Shade?
About a high-stakes migration deal agreed by the leaders of Britain and France, but whether it
The
can
Prime
really
Minister
work
really
is
needed
another
to win
question.
on small boats. President
Okay.
Macron, can you do a deal on small boats, sir? Do a deal on
After
small
all the
boats,
pomp
sir?
and the ceremony, this
Prime
is
Minister
what the
was
state
doing it,
visit
sir.
was really about. A high-stakes migration deal agreed by these two leaders. Never mind. I did the first one, it's okay. Fine. Cool.
British context. I'm a big believer in that, absolutely. And that does, there is really a lot of goodwill between Keir Starmer and President Macron. They're very different times in their political lives. One European Keir Starmer, but very pro-European, has made, I think, the most trips actually to France since he's been Prime Minister. And we had the Black Palace, indeed. And of course that relationship with the King, and of course the first EU leader to make, since Brexit, state visit. Trump, it has been reported both in British media and French media that he sort of stole a march in that sense on Trump. It will be very closely watched by the White House, indeed. But here, I think there is such political will for that to happen, and that's support to Ukraine, helping their defence capabilities as well, and also that joint nuclear announcement. So apart from the migration one, which again, to repeat myself, is much more obvious in headlines here in the United Kingdom, but it is France, which is not to say that immigration and migration is not a huge topic. The occupation, French people going on Frankfurt. This thing that happened UK correspondent for France 24. So domestic political issues under discussion, the defence of the European continent under discussion, legacy building, frankly, which leaders always have in mind as well. So we are, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, expecting the two leaders to address the cameras, to make remarks. We will bring that to you when it happens. For the moment, from Downing Street, back to the studio. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you, pleasure. Placer.
Headlines, yes. I've got it. Headlines, yes. I wonder. So basically,
There. I was thinking, Not very French. take the doors off it.
Larry tweeted after the tapestry.
He's got a very good.
Is he happy about the tapestry?
Yeah.
He's got a very good social media profile.
Yeah.
He's the most
Most popular person in Downing Street.
Who is the one to do this tweet for life?
Nobody
It's Larry
knows.
himself. What do you mean, Mr. President?
Probably somebody here,
It's a very clever cat.
but it was absolutely wonderful
Right.
to tweet after the tapestry. Yeah. There you go.
Okay, look this way for me, please.
Over here, thank you.
Everyone down here, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. Very good. That was a difficult part.
Yes, yeah, Keir's very clever.
They visit each other with their kittens.
Yeah, carry their kids around Downing Street. Yeah, yeah, my boyfriend was like that.
You don't think I like this one?
Thank you very much. Just going to the point actually, Kennington.
So I will be leaving just a
This is podcast parade.
Oh, I know.
Every time we go to the garden, by the time you actually get to the celebration, I know there's something on that. I've heard it.
round table.
Very early in the morning.
I can't be there either.
All three meetings. So sometimes you have a meeting and so some marching band.
So
Mr. Moses.
how are you enjoying the job?
We'll be together.
There was a lot of
What is this going on? This Starmer's got some operation. But it was very funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we go in? Good. We had it?
Got it. I'm loving that, Will, the Liberty Java. Yeah, I mean, as far as we're aware, we don't know yet. Perhaps they'll decide to bring it out and share that beautiful view with us all. But clearly, that photo op is more than just a photograph. It's a symbol. It's symbolic of a changing relationship, of thawing of relationship, and also, of course, most importantly, trying to show, put our best foot forward and really roll out the red carpet for Macron ahead of those crunch talks, and then an all-important press conference where we will find out exactly what they have negotiated when it comes to some of those processes. We'll have to see. I mean, we would hope so. It gives us plenty of content, doesn't it? But nonetheless, it's not long to wait now until we hopefully get all the details. Thank you. Does it all look okay?
Benedict asked me if there was going to be, if they were working on a migration deal.
Yeah, sorry, just give me 1 second, sorry.
Benedict asked me if they were working on a migration deal.
Yes.
And she said, like, well, we can say, like, we believe he said they are working on it.
They're working on it. Cheers, bye. No, so I've got to, I think I'm in the 10 with King, then I've got to surely do the 11, and then I've got to go to lobby at 11:45. I'll probably do.
So you're going to a thing on clear?
Yeah, you're clear. Thank you. Like that.
Thank you.
Watch it back. Hi Charlie, how are you?
Yeah, I was just going to look at it.
He says he thinks that Macron responded to my question. Actually, the sun's now moved, so it doesn't.
Bye, Mari. I'll see you later.
See you later.
It's quite a nice day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a nice day. Okay, I'll have it like chips in the night.
I know. What did he do? Did he get him to turn around? I was so busy doing a piece of camera and yelling at him, I didn't notice.
I'd done the face this morning. Looked to me like Macron was like, come on, let's give him another little, and then they did us another little, a little cheeky smile, you know.
They love it, don't they?
They love it.
All right, bye, love.
See you later. Hey. Am I over here with you now?
I think so. We're doing 1 in 10, yeah.
I was told about an hour and a half ago, yes. Oh, someone's phoning.
Okay.
Let me just.
And then just talk me through.
Hannah.
I could just get in from there.
Hello.
And then the first thing I'm going into at the top is what? Sorry, please. Ask the headlines.
He's here and rustling in a bag, so I think he is going to be live in it now.
This is being secrecy.
He's putting a battery in. It's a battery.
On the last day of the French leader's state visit to the UK. Meanwhile, the UK says it is optimistic about reaching a deal with France to reduce the number of migrants crossing the English Channel into boats.
Okay, I'll try and lip read that.
Here at Down Street to bring you all the latest
I'll try and lip read that. Brilliant.
Then sort of stops him there. That's all right.
Fantastic. Hold on, let's do another.
Works right, doesn't it?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
That's right. Pleasure.
See you on the next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one's with doing like time and stuff. Obviously it's do early lives, but then it all sort of changed. So I got copped into doing the rifle shot as well. It just all changed last minute. Because there was supposed to be two positions here, and the second camera turned up and then he disappeared.
I think, was that when I came in?
Yeah.
Because I think Freddie told them he was very...
That's right, yeah. So I just said, look, don't worry, I'll just do, because I was already here, I said, look, don't worry, actually, I'll just do the only good thing is I had a job in Millbank at 11, which I've given to someone else.
Hello, I'm Anita McVeigh and welcome live to Downing Street with BBC News because French President Emmanuel Macron has arrived in the last few minutes at Downing Street for a UK-France summit aimed at reaching a deal to try and deter migrants crossing the Channel in small boats. A deal to see the UK returning migrants to France for the first time with asylum seekers with family connections coming here in exchange. In the last few minutes, the two delegations gathering in the Downing Street garden. And I've been mentioning that we are expecting comments from the two leaders, and I think we can take you to that inside Downing Street right now. We were on the queue and haven't scrolled back to the headlines. Translation, or do you want me to speak? Do we have a translation? Do you want me to speak? So these remarks beginning in French with President Macron on this business end of the state visit. Really the state visit proper is the royal conference ceremony that we saw in Windsor on Tuesday. But as soon as this moves into English, we will bring that to you. The French delegation sitting to the left of President Macron, the right of your screens, and their UK counterparts on the other side, beside the UK Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. There were, of course, attempts to ask them about the small boat deal as they stood on the steps of Downing Street to pose for the cameras and photographers. President Macron said something along the lines of, we're working on it. But this proposed deal, according to the information we've been able to gather, is a sort of one-in, one-out deal whereby the UK would send, we think, around 50 people a week back to France who had entered the UK illegally from France on these small boat crossings. And then France would send a corresponding number to the UK, people who have family connections in the UK, who have a good prospect of gaining asylum, and who we understand have not attempted to get to the UK via these small boats. It's very significant because it would be, if it happens, it would be the first time that France has agreed to take people back. That brings its own set of problems domestically for President Macron and indeed within the wider European Union, because a number of countries have raised concerns about this. They think if France is taking people back, then France will try to send those people back to other countries that they entered France from. And of course, huge pressure on the UK Prime Minister as well to get a deal on boats. It has been an issue that has beleaguered a number of prime ministers for quite a long time now, Conservatives and now this Labour prime minister. But the big question, I suppose, from his perspective is, if we're talking numbers in the sort of 50-week ballpark, will that be criticised as not enough? We know that in the first 6 months of this year, around 20,000 people have entered the UK illegally. And I think we have translation now, so let's dip back in down to it. So that is a conclusion to the comments there inside Downing Street, and we must apologise for the issues with the sound quality and indeed the quality of the pictures there inside Downing Street. But just picking up on what Emmanuel Macron, the French president, was saying. He was talking there about the Middle East, the need to stabilise the situation there, get Iran to a nuclear deal, and that sort of fits in with this broader theme that he has been talking about when he spoke to these members of the House of Lords earlier in the week, and indeed alluded to it in his comments at the state banquet in Windsor Castle on Tuesday as well. And that is about trying to build more stability for the continent of Europe. He very much sees the UK as a partner in that. They both have nuclear weapons. They are both permanent members of the UN Security Council. So Emmanuel Macron, I think that he thinks that he said earlier in the week was that both countries have this responsibility to ensure the security of the continent. And on that note, he thanked Keir Starmer for the UK government's engagement with the EU, and said it's very, very important that we come together. Well, let's speak now to BBC Ukraine's reporter in Kyiv, Jana Bezpiatchuk. Jana, good to have you with us, and of course, as well as the issue of small boats crossing between France and the UK. One of the other big subjects for today's discussions is how the coalition of very much led by France and the UK, can do more to support Ukraine's defence against Russia. It seems no coincidence, perhaps, that we've seen two really big aerial assaults by Russia on Ukraine this week, including one overnight. Tell us about that. is the biggest challenge for Ukraine right now, Jana, in terms of defending itself? Is it defending against those aerial bombardments, or is it about, on the ground, that eastern flank on the border with Russia? Jana, just finally and briefly, if you would, President Zelensky is in Rome for the Ukraine Reconstruction Conference. Leaders there will join the video conference, which will be co-chaired by Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron. What is Ukraine hoping for from that? Okay, Jana Vespiachuk, thank you very much for joining us from the Ukrainian capital as we see these pictures of President and Mrs. Zelensky in Rome for that security and reconstruction conference. So interesting to hear Jana say there that the biggest thing that Ukraine could look for right now is the transfer of those frozen Russian assets to go towards reconstruction in Ukraine. And joining us now is Michael Moscow, senior fellow at the US think tank, the Atlantic Council, and global affairs analyst, also joining us from Ukraine today. Michael, it's very good to have you with us as ever. And what do you think could come out of this summit, the meeting here in the UK today between the leaders of the coalition building at the UK and France that would help Ukraine the most at this point?
London. Mr. President, Emmanuel, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Together with your team, you're all very welcome, and we're much looking forward to this session. This week, we've celebrated a unique relationship, our shared history with a hugely successful state visit, and it has been hugely successful. Now, today, it's our task to look forward, to apply our collective strength and leadership to the challenges that we face today on behalf of the people that we respectively serve. This summit will signal a step change in our partnership to deliver greater prosperity and security for working people, building on our new agreement with the EU, which of course you referenced last night. In uncertain times, we achieve more by strengthening our relationship with our allies. So that is what today is all about, working together on the priorities that we share as two nations. For us, it's about delivering the changes that the British people want to see. We all agree the situation in the Channel cannot go on as it is. So we're bringing new tactics into play and a new level of intent to tackle illegal migration and break the business model of the criminal gangs. We're also deepening our economic cooperation to boost growth and to create jobs. And we're celebrating the new investment into Sizewell C, helping to strengthen our energy security and protect bill payers for many years to come. We're also updating the historic Lancaster House Treaty, an ambition that we put in motion very early on to strengthen our collective defence and security as Europe's only nuclear powers, providing about 40% of European defence spending. We share a unique responsibility for the security of this continent. It is right that we step up and take on that responsibility together, whilst also delivering a defence dividend for our people. And it's also right that we lead the response on Ukraine. Later today, Emmanuel and I will bring the coalition of the willing together again to rally even more support to keep Ukraine in the fight for now and to drive Putin to the negotiating table. On all these fronts, we're working to meet danger and uncertainty together with a show of force, a show of unity. And I want to thank everybody here for all the work that has been done to prepare for today. I'm very much looking forward to our discussions. And let me turn, Emmanuel, Mr. President, to you to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. Thank you first for hosting us and for the perfect and warm organization of the state visit. And indeed, today we open a new phase with the summit. And allow me to say a few words in French for our media. Merci beaucoup, cher Keir, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you so much, dear Keir, ministers, for the work done in the lead up to this summit. As you've just recalled, this summit is of prime importance. 9 years after Brexit, agreement's been reached with your resolve, our shared resolve of opening a new chapter and try and collectively re-engage in the face of common challenges. For as you referred at the last meeting that was held with the EU institutions in May, to move forward at several fronts, and indeed we would like collectively, together, hand in hand, to build what will allow us to address the looming challenges. On the economic front, we know the need, as we're key partners at a time, we're key partners on both sides of the Channel, the need to revive our economies through a more integrated capital investment markets. It's one of the priorities of the EU, but the London financial centre wants us. It means that we need to have a coordinated approach with you, reviving investors, many sectors, our ambition, joint ambition on AI and on areas of capabilities, innovation, strategic for us. I'm thinking of what was concluded in the Spate front with the satellite venture. We welcome that. And of course on security issues and migration, here again the relationship is key these past few years, you've known France's commitment, and our ministers have indeed opened a new phase of the political agreement that's sealed today is of importance because we share the same resolve to fight against illegal criminal gangs with strong coordination with other EU states. As we've said, the ministers have worked on that. France is the final point before entry into the UK. But these men and women, obviously, roots of poverty who are exploited by these smugglers. We must work with entry point countries into Europe and to stem these entry points. We have common resolve in fighting this trafficking, protecting our people and the men and women from these smugglers, and engage all countries that have a co-responsibility of our side. This is something EU wishes to take forward and starts with a bilateral discussion must be broadened. I think that's the momentum underway through this summit and in line what was done through the Calais group. In terms of defence and security, we have a solid history, in no way impacted by Brexit. However, this summit will kickstart some key issues in terms of capacity building, strategic for our two armed forces together constitute what is really the bedrock of this European NATO pillar, to be able to be a framework nations, to project ourselves on several theatre of operations. Defend European soil at the site of our allies is paramount, and I welcome the fact that this can seal, first of all, breakthroughs in terms of strategic capability and common efforts, but really take it to the next level in terms of capabilities on more sensitive issues such as nuclear deterrence. Work's been finalized of importance, so we'll return to that. On the diplomatic front, European affairs here again, this summit will allow us to move forward, as you recall, Prime Minister, with a shared resolve to support Ukraine, and we'll have occasion this afternoon to hold a new coalition of the willing session to reaffirm our resolve over time to support our Ukrainian friends financially, militarily, with support capabilities to up the level of pressure on Russia in close conjunction between yourselves, the EU and the United States, in order to bring Putin back to the negotiating table with a robust and lasting peace. What we've done with February for the coalition of the willing is key. We'll review events in the Middle East where our countries historically have a strong responsibility guaranteeing pluralism, stability, and there are several key issues. Coordination is absolutely key between us on nuclear power in Iran and peace and security for all in the Middle East. And lastly, on the energy front, as you mentioned, welcome the agreement reached on Sizewell C, and after the commitment on Hinkley Point, it's a new phase that we're securing in terms of investment. It's also a whole generation of investment nuclear capabilities that are key for both the sovereignty and decarbonization of our economy, moving and interconnections that we need to move forward. It's one of the priorities for me. I'd like to thank our ministers for all the work put in ahead of the summit, the conclusions that we'll be reaching. And thank you, Prime Minister, for your commitment. You said that at the outset, and I believe the resolve that you're moving forward to re-engage with Europe, first and foremost with France, is a paramount priority in an increasingly uncertain world that we've seen these past few weeks. Wars, destabilization of trade in our economies, our ability to act jointly is a key success driver for us all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Could you pass the spare glass down there? That's at the far end.